Get that paper, told that Glock, that's how we live. Yeah, my life's a game, I pray I don't get killed. They can't believe I got the guap, this shit for real. Can't accept the fact my brother gone, I wanna kill. Yeah, I can't go for that shit don't sit right. Instead of capping to the old nigga, I know what you live like. Ain't worried about all, just fuck these hoes and live life. I go on the drill, I'm smart enough, you gotta know how to kill.
Isagi is seen entering Blue Lock as he's forced to put his phone away within a box. This agitates him because he's used to that constant connection and talking to his mother on a daily basis. However, Henry does give him hope, saying that it could be earned back by doing well within the facility. Nodding and taking his clothes, he enters more confident than ever. Walking into a room to see his team, he's actually shocked that each of them stands out so differently. Team Z here is the same, and Ego appears once again on the screen, introducing the game of tag to the players. Isagi would ask the question once again that if he performs best on this team, will he be awarded his phone? And actually, wanting to provoke the striker, Ego agreed, disappearing. So when the game of tag does begin, you might be shocked to hear that Isagi steals the ball from Igarashi and runs around, using it to tag each person in the room before sending it into the side of Igarashi with 2 seconds left on the timer. A buzzing sound would go off shortly after, as Ego reappears, eliminating the young player. He would smile upon the screen, saying that the son of 2 actors is quite interesting after all. Well, I guess one of the boy's parents is a true actor, he says to himself. Henry would question this, but Ego waves her off and then begins the training of each young prodigy and their teams. Throughout each part of the training sessions, Isagi here excels, finding none of it difficult at all. In fact, he far outclasses his peers with little effort, with most of Team Z wondering just who he was. Still, Isagi was dedicated and even took his training to the early mornings and late nights. The obsession is what led Ego to having even more interest within him. Days continued to pass, where we'd see Isagi slowly becoming more and more complete. There was a certain private practices where he'd use his goal gaze to learn more about it, learning its requirements, and that he must be in a certain range of the goal for the path to be created. With this new adaptation and understanding, Isagi becomes increasingly closer to his own breakthrough technique. He just needs one final catalyst, and hopefully that will come soon, as the next day, Jinpachi Ego announces the first selection and its rules. The team now has to determine their starting lineup as well as their starting striker, and here, it's Kira. Not too many have a problem with this since he did win the rock paper scissors, except for Isagi. However, he does comply, only to make it better for his own team. They have some practices before their first match, as this is when we see our first look at another team, Team X and their main striker Baru. The game kicks off, with many fighting over possession for the ball, but the king, rampaging and ripping through all of them, makes his declaration that anything against him is futile and they're all just peasants. With that though, Isagi makes his own decisions, deciding to show off some of his actual talent when the game resets after Baru had scored his own goal. He sprints right by Kira as many were approaching him, as he then looks back. Come on, I've seen you do it before. Deliver the pass for my evolution. Kira, looking ahead, sees Baru barreling towards him and decides now is a better time than anything, as this was the best option. Chipping it over the king's head as it now lands near Isagi. Still, defenders were here. Before the ball can actually land on the ground or on his foot if he were to trap it, Isagi's goal gaze manifests itself. This was different than before. Recalling his junior high years, Isagi's goal gaze was a solo ability, relying on his own strength and skill to create a path to the goal within his mind. But it seems that here, that a pass, a pass from this player who he doesn't have any connection to at all can greatly affect his visionary abilities. Seeing the defenders closing in, Isagi not only traps the ball, but spins through them, moving ahead. Not seeing any type of move like this before, many of the defenders were caught off guard. Being wide open now, he takes a shot, tying up the game. Baru was the one who was annoyed the most, but it seemed that the puzzle pieces were swarming around our protagonist. Using others to awaken hidden parts of himself he didn't know that existed. He never thought of playing football in such a sadistic nature until receiving that pass. But he loves the thought of gaining strength through any means necessary. Isagi now goes back and forth with the king, leading to a tie game in the end due to Gagamaru still being a new keeper and a lot of Team Z not having the capabilities to keep up with Baru. However, Isagi was gaining even more knowledge as the match had went on. Now, with a tie under their belt, the team talks about their strategy for the upcoming match against their next opponents, Team Y. Each person reveals the strength that they have on the field, except for Isagi. Due to him scoring 4 goals, he asked for his phone back. And since he has it here, he was actually texting his mother during this team meeting. She states that after he leaves Blue Lock, she does have something crucial to tell him. Isagi wonders if it's about his father's recovery, so he doesn't ask for any type of hint. Instead, he tells her that he's going to go work out. This is when we see his mother put down her phone, and she looks at the TV, seeing Michael Kaiser scoring a winning goal for Basher Munchen. Back to the facility, we'd see Team Z and Y on the field, with Isagi now as the starting striker. No one could deny his skill, not even Kira, who was focusing on scoring himself, believing that he could rival Isagi if he trained hard enough. The match then begins, and Team Y passes the ball around, not doing much of anything with it, which confuses Team Z, as they wasted a lot of their energy chasing around, but they couldn't keep up with the ball. This led to their quick attack, but it's stopped by Kira and Kunigami, both players nodding to one another, starting the counter for Team Z. Players dash around the field into the open space, but at the same time, defenders move quickly. Kira goes for that same pass to Isagi, and he jumps to trap it in the same manner as before. However, this time is much different. Iki Nico appears from behind Isagi, intending to stop him using his own vision and defensive abilities. Not this time, Isagi. We've prepared for this, as we see Iki Nico's own vision. Isagi can see the other 2 defenders at the ready, so even if he was to spin, he's still trapped. He then looks at the pass, not panicking at all. So what? It seems I'm still in range. Isagi's eyes would glow with a passion like no other, as his goal gaze, ignited as he performed a bicycle kick into the goal. Iki Nico falls to the ground in disbelief, saying a shot like that shouldn't be possible, especially from this range. However, Isagi turns to him, looking down at him. No shot or technique can escape my grasp. From this point on, Team Z knows what to expect, with Team Y trying to stall the game. So, it's another dominating match for them. And when training for their next opponents, Isagi walks into the room, grabbing Kunigami, stating that his eyes showed him something completely different. But he has to test out this theory of his. Because of his training that's hidden from the rest of his team, Isagi, he requested a formation change for their next match, now running himself and Kunigami as the strikers up top. Not many were actually bothered by this, but their opponents on Team W found this strange, especially the twins, whose whole plan was to crush Isagi using a 2-on-1 defensive combo. But now with Kunigami here, it seems that their plans were cancelled. From the opening play, the twins were shut down by the two strikers who were pressing forward. With that beginning steal, they then look on, sliding into their offensive strategy. And they do so with a goal. Isagi moves into the box, and the ball is heading his way, with both Wanama twins blocking him and intending to get the steal here. Isagi himself, he wasn't concerned, but he knows he needs to find a new way to score. Using his free arm, he pushes off one of the twins and makes it into space, recovering the pass easily from Kunigami. Just a little bit more. The remaining defender cuts off his shot, but this was something new that was about to happen. A left-footed shot came from Isagi's foot, and it soars into the net, showing that he was dangerous, whether he was on his weak foot or his strong foot. A new left-footed shot is what takes the breath of those watching, except for Kunigami, as now it seemed that the twins were in for some trouble. Not only could Isagi use his left foot, at the same time, Kunigami was even more efficient with his right, a duo that had either option at their disposal, made for something truly scary. Completely obliterating the twins and the rest of their team in this match, it seemed that this new Team Z was becoming unstoppable. Isagi himself was at the forefront of all of it, but was still chasing after more, knowing that this isn't what he saw. His goal gaze was still leading him to something more, a shot that was his own. Working out after an intense game, thinking of everything that could be done differently, he still doesn't have an answer. There was something that was still truly missing from his game. With their final match of this selection announced against Team V and their prodigies, Isagi, his own brother, back in Germany, was set to face a formidable rival team. Now, it seems that Kaiser had his own troubles to face, as well as Isagi, but both wanted to make a declaration in their own way. Jumping back into our story, it seemed that Isagi was studying his opponents to create something new. Later, he does realize something that could be game-changing for his style of play. It complements him so perfectly, so how could he gloss over it? So then he goes to practice it, hoping to unleash this new weapon within this final match of the first selection. Night turns into day as the strikers group on the pitch for a match that might determine which team was the best in this selection. Reo is the one to claim that Isagi is quite the striker, but Nagi is a complete prodigy. Isagi wouldn't waste his time speaking, instead focusing on his goal gaze. Somehow, he could always create a path from his opponent's movements or their passes. But this new technique, it had so much range, which excited him as he could see the goal from here. He then passes the ball off to Kira once the whistle blows and runs ahead, making his move into position. At the same time, in Germany, Michael Kaiser dashes across the field, with Alexis Ness running in the background. This was his own shining moment, where he planned to declare himself to the world. Kaiser and Isagi met the ball at the same time respectively. The Kaiser impact blasted across the field with such a loud boom it could be heard before it skids across the back of the net. Meanwhile, the arcane sniper shot whips across the sky, curving into the net with ferocity as the keeper couldn't even predict its pattern. Each brother has their own respective reaction to their own shots, as Kaiser was content with his goal and his hard work, clenching his fist. However, Isagi's own greed had shown through his expression as he wanted to develop more, as this was the first time that Isagi had entered an awakened state with his blackout eyes. Reo and Zantetsu both look on, not knowing what to think at all. However, Kiro was the one to declare that the shot that they just witnessed can't be stopped by any normal means at all. With the distance that Isagi had used, that technique, he may become unstoppable. But what do you all think? Each brother has now unleashed their new techniques. heading for major goals while climbing to the top. Well, which one do you believe is better? The Kaiser impact or the arcane sniper shot? Let me know down in the comments, as the name of the arcane sniper shot was inspired by Isagi's own 2-gun volley from the manga. But if you do enjoy my videos and you want to see more content just like this, consider subscribing. And if you want another part of this series, get this video to 70 likes. My name is Zero, and I'll catch you all on the next one.